Okay, good evening and welcome to tonight's live lesson. My name is Troy, and if you're new to the site or you're a regular subscriber, welcome to tonight's live lesson. This is live lesson number 135, and in this live lesson we're going to be looking at taking inverted double strokes and putting them into grooves. So this is something that I have loved doing ever since I heard it and someone showed me, and I was like, oh my God, that's just unlocked everything that I ever wanted to do. But anyway, we'll jump into that in a second. Hope everyone's had a fantastic week, and approaching the crazy Christmas time. Everyone's got all their shopping and all that kind of gifts and ideas and stuff that you want for Christmas, and all the family stuff is all lined up and it's all under control. It can be a pretty crazy time and a stressful time for some, and so yeah, I hope that everyone has a nice lead up into the festive season. So with for me, I'm just wrapping up a lot of my teaching and stuff for the year, which is kind of exciting for me because coming into these, I think I've got 6 weeks off from teaching, and I'm planning to just hit this website hard. So last year it was a little bit different. I had a lot of different things pop up and all that. And this time now I'm seriously just going to be smashing out content for this site. When I talk about content, I'm talking about the pre-recorded stuff. So for all you guys who are waiting for more pre-recorded stuff, it is coming. There's actually quite a bit coming. But what I would like from you guys is I'd like you to email me at info@intodrums.com what kind of lessons and ideas that you would like to see on the site. So whether it be jazz independent stuff or more Latin inspired grooves or anything, or double kick stuff, whatever. You let me know so I can get that stuff up first and foremost for you guys and give you what you're after, basically. So another thing I wanted to touch on is in February we do have Mr. Andrew Gander coming in. Now Andrew is an Aussie drummer. I think he was originally based in Sydney. Well, when I first heard about him, he was a Sydney drummer. He lived in Melbourne for a while, and I got to meet him a few times and see him perform in person, and he blew my mind. And since then, I think he's lived in the United Arab Emirates. He's lived in London. I think he's currently based in Hong Kong. So he's going to be in Australia in February doing a tour and doing some gigs, and I've been lucky enough to get him to come in and do a masterclass for you guys. Seriously, check the website once everything's confirmed on what he's actually going to be performing. Do yourself a favor, lock in the date, and make sure you don't miss that one. I mean, I'm very fortunate that we had Jerry and Johnny come in and do the masterclasses, and they were amazing. And this one is shaping up to be just mind-blowing. So I'm very, very excited. Also, I wanted to mention that we will be having a giveaway for that, and I've spoken to the guys at GH Music in Flemington, and they are going to hook us up with an incredible prize to give away for you guys. So stay tuned for all the announcements about that. Now anyway, let's get into this lesson, in today's lesson. So again, advanced lesson number 135, inverted double strokes in grooves. Now, like I said, whenever I think of inverted double strokes in grooves, the one person who sticks out in my mind the most is Mr. Steve Gadd. And growing up, I was introduced fairly early to Steve's playing, and his flow and his touch and his dynamics and his articulation when it comes to this kind of stuff is just impeccable. Steve, and I mentioned this in a previous lesson, but Steve, he really milks everything out of his licks. So basically, he's not like your Virgil Donatis who have chops on chops on chops on chops on chops. Steve has quite a lot of technical ability and chop, but he's really gone through, you can tell he's really gone through and taken every idea and played it every single way he can, and using different parts of the drums and all that kind of stuff. And he finds ideas that sound great and really work, and he adds that to his arsenal. It's not just a matter of, oh, I'm playing this because it's hard. It actually sounds stupid musical, like stupidly musical, and that's probably a really bad way to say it, but it's unbelievable how musical his approach is, and it's what I think every drummer should be aspiring to get to. So enough blabbering. Let's look at this first one. So what we're going to be doing with these is we're going to be playing our inverted double strokes as 30-second notes. So we're going to be fitting 8 notes into one beat. Okay. The way I usually count them is I count 16ths and I just double them. So I'm going 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and when I'm doing the double. So in this case it'll be like 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and So do your best with that and just take it nice and slow, put on a click. So we're going to do the first one. Let's do it at, let's do it at 50 beats per minute. So this one has the right hand is playing on the hi-hat, left hand is playing softly on the snare, and we're playing from beat 3 to pretty much beat 4. So it's 3 E and 4 E and 3 E and R. So, and I'll go to the side view so you can see that. Actually, I'll go to this one because it makes it easy. So it's 3 E and R. So the whole thing would be 1 E and R, 2 E and R, 3 E and R, 4 E and R. Which once we play it a little bit faster, it sounds amazing. So let's jump right into that now. So a couple of things to note with these, and these are really important. Dynamics, okay? The notes in the brackets need to be played as ghost notes, and that's as soft as you can get them. Any note that doesn't have a bracket is played out and fairly loud. In saying that, unless you see an accent on the hi-hat, don't just play it as a tip of the stick stroke, not an accent on the hi-hat. So just the ghost notes on the snare are super important because you want to keep those down, and it gives it almost like a kind of roll effect. Now let's move on to the next one because we've got quite a few of these to get through. So the next one's pretty much exactly the same, except on 4, instead of hitting the snare with our left hand and our right hand hitting hats, we're going to come down with our right hand and we're going to hit the snare on its own. So instead of hitting the hi-hat here, we're going to go 4 and this is your typical way that you would play this, or whenever I've learned the Gaddisms, this is how I've always learnt it. So I wanted to put both options in there so you've got both options. But here we go with this, same tempo, 40 beats per minute. Cool. So now the next thing that we're going to do, so if you're looking at your PDF, well, number 3 is the same pattern as we've just done previously, except now our left hand, instead of playing them on the snare drum, we're playing them up on the hi-hat. And this is going to give you a 30-second note feel on the hi-hat. So here we go. Let's give that one a go. 40 beats per minute again. So, yeah, those, you can hear how they're going to start to sound, and they do actually sound quite a bit better when they're faster. And towards the end of the lesson, I'll go through and I'll play some of these a little bit faster so you can hear the effect that you're getting. So now moving on to number 4. So what we're doing now with this one is we're actually starting with the 30-second note roll on beat 1, and then it goes back to 8th notes from 2 onwards. So let's give that one a go. So again, it's the same sticking as before, as number 2, and the same pattern, but we're just starting with it. So here we go. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit. So let's do it at about 50, and I'll play the same thing. So moving on to the next one. So moving on to number 5. Oh, and just before we do that, so that one is kind of like, reminds me of Chucky's in Love by Ricky Lee. And in that song, there's a little breakdown, there's a little drum break in it, and it's just, oh my God, you should hear it. So if you can get that track, what's it? Chucky's in Love. Let me see if I can find it. I'll do that later. So moving on to the next one. So this is the same deal, except we're bringing our left hand up to the hi-hat. So let's do that. And we're going to do this at 50 beats per minute. The next one that we're going to be looking at is number 6. Now, number 6 is where it starts to get really interesting, because we're now playing 16ths on the hats, and the inverted double stroke is going to start on 2, beat 2. But the thing is, we're going to start with our left hand on the snare, and I'm not great at these, but I wanted to put them in just to show you how cool it sounds when you start the opposite way. So I've always done these starting with the right hand on the hats, but I wanted to demonstrate how it can sound with the left hand on starting on the snare. So it's the same deal. So it's going to be 1 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 and 4. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 1 and 2 E and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 4. And I'll play it now properly so you can hear it. But yeah, nice and slow, so 50 beats per minute. Here we go. Let's speed it up a little bit. Let's go to, try it at 60. 3, cool. So as you can hear, it gives it a really cool texture, and that's what I love about these patterns. So second last one is number 7. Same deal, we're going to start on the 4. Now, if you do have any questions and you haven't asked already, now's the time to start getting those to me, because after the next one is where I'm going to be asking questions or taking questions, and there's a 28-second delay. So keep that in mind. Here we go. Let's do it, let's try it about 80. So we'll see how we go. So you can hear they start to really have a cool effect and a cool texture. I really like that. And because that's not the type of one that I was taught growing up, I just flipped it around, started on the left, and because it's naturally want to hit a 204 with the left hand, it just made sense for me to start it there. And it gives it an interesting thing. Does it sound better? Maybe not. I think the other way sounds better. But either way, it's a cool texture. And I haven't even started exploring it around the kit, like using the snare and the bell and doing stuff like that. So yeah, you guys experiment the heck out of that. Now the last one we're going to do is pretty much the main gaddism. Okay. Essentially we're playing the whole bar as 30-second notes. And we're substituting a bass drum for a stepped hi-hat. So in that first, in number 2, where we do the right, left, left, right, right, left, left kick snare, we're going to go right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, hats, snare. So it's a step on a hat, and it gives a really cool texture. So we'll take that. Let's do this at 50, and then we'll speed it up. So here we go. So let's speed that up. Let's chuck it to 70 beats per minute. So we're going to try it at 90 now. So I was just messing with it at the end there. Some stuff worked, some stuff didn't. And the idea is to push yourself with all this stuff and yeah, see what works, see what doesn't, have fun with it. That's a heck of a lot of fun to do. So I'll see if you've got any questions, if you guys are out there, if anyone's watching. Now's the time to ask your questions if you do have a question. Chats, nope, No, doesn't seem to be any questions. So we're going to wrap it up there. As always, if you do have any questions, please hit me up at info@intodrums.com and I'll happily answer your questions there. You could also ask your question in any other live lesson. So when you're watching live, you can ask a question when you're watching live. Or alternately, you can ask your question during your video submission. So when you record yourself and you submit your video for review, if you have any questions there, please let me know. That's what you're paying for. And I'll happily answer whatever questions you want to do with drumming. Not a problem. Anything. And it doesn't even need to be something relating to the lesson topic. In such, you might be having a left hand problem and you're saying, oh, I just feel that my left hand isn't strong enough. And then, you know, that will give me, okay, well now I'll create this lesson for you and I'll recommend you a lesson on the site that you can go to and start working on to help you overcome those obstacles. That's what the site's all about. And yeah, that's what I'm aiming it to be. So on that note, we're going to wrap up. I want you guys to have a fantastic week. I will see you guys next week, and we've got one more lesson I think before Christmas, and then the next one will be, I think I'm going to do it on the 26th, which is Boxing Day. Maybe 26th, 27th. I haven't worked it out yet. I have to check the schedule and see what's happening, but that will be up very shortly. Until then, I'll see you guys next week. Have a fantastic week and happy practicing.